I know.
Reminds me of when I took typing classes in middle school. All right, we're good to go.
Good to go?
Good.
Okay, so this is the oath of office for our new board members, Mike Dunaway and AJ Throgmorton. Jessica, do you have the oath?
Y'all just need to speak the bolded section.
Got it.
Yeah, you just gotta say that, sign it, I sign it, and then we're done.
All right. I do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
I do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Okay. That's it.
Great, thanks, Jessica.
Mhm.
Mike and AJ, it's great to have both of you on. It's great to have a full board.
Yay.
Okay, moving on to the approval of minutes. We have two sets of minutes, December 10th, 2024 and January 15th, 2025. Any discussion?
It was a long read.
It was a lot to read.
It was.
I make
Do
a
we have
motion,
a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from December 10th, 2024 and January 15th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. I second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, none opposed. Okay, thank you.
Long type.
Okay, moving
Long
on
time.
to
Entire day. to
treasurer
type this.
financial.
Okay,
Sorry, what did I miss?
Oh, no, just me making a flip.
Okay. Okay, so we have our review and approval of the January 2025 financials. Lily, you want to take it away?
Sure. So January expenses were slightly lower than in December. I did make two payments to the PTIF fund, which totaled $300,000 in January. So we're setting ourselves up really well. Been trying to have transitioning to AMCS has increased cash flow and just trying to have that money work for us rather than just have it sit in a bank that's not interest bearing. So payroll expenses totaled $179,797.68. I go on to, if you look at the document Jessica shared, break out the two payrolls. The first payroll covered two holidays that were not worked, which was Christmas Day and New Year's Day, but that did put more overtime onto the subsequent days since there wasn't collection for those days. We did have temporary labor expenses that are part of the operations, but if they're included, it would be $205,000. I would like to say that I don't want the board to get too comfortable with these payroll expenses. I am looking at a compensation study, and I just think staff they have not received a COLA this year. Their last COLA was in July of 2024, which is 4% for 2024. That was broken up in January and then 2% given in July. But there are certain positions that I think are not being paid what they should be for the responsibility that they have. And that can be a conversation at future times. But interesting, overtime was much lower in January than in December. In January, overtime was only about $208,000, and in December it was almost $11,000. So it was about $8,000 less. That would be outlined on the profit and loss that I included, because I just feel like that check register doesn't really summarize or give like the full picture month. For operations expenses, the total was $154,290.74. Fuel expenses were about $13,000. Repairs and maintenance, they're $23,000. A lot of insurance expenses are paid annually and came out in January, so that was just under $8,000. Again, so the temporary labor, why you see it's different is the temporary labor that I have here is, I think that's the one on the profit and loss. Let me scroll down. Just when the checks are written, that's why, I think this one, I'm so sorry, I think it was just. Labor. You know, one number is looking at what was paid and one is looking at what was actually accrued during the month. So that's why there's a discrepancy. Oh goodness, I'm having a hard time finding it now that I'm under pressure. But that's why that number is different. Oh goodness. I'd be happy to look at that at a less stressful time. And rentals, is about $11,000. 2.5 is a rental for a piece of equipment at Moab. Is it a loader or does it, I don't remember what that.
Yes, $2,500 for a motor. At
Okay.
Moab.
That we're renting, and then
Yeah.
the other amount was for the truck that we're renting at just under 9,000. So the total expenses with the 300,000 to the PTIF fund was $634,088.42. Rolling, I'm trying to find that. Yeah, so temp labor that we paid in or that we accrued in January was the 25,000 that you see included in the payroll cost, but the 18,000 was only what we paid. There was one invoice right after the holidays that I didn't receive until February. So that's why that is different.
Lily,
I figured.
or Chris, how does the temp labor expenses compare with if those people were actually on our payroll, and how much longer are we planning to have these people as temp labor, or before we offer them positions?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that. I think it's pretty comparable. So obviously their wage, you know, the Elwood Staffing puts on a fee on top of what people are making. I forget the exact percentage, but it comes out to like $6 to $7 more an hour over what we're paying them that goes to Elwood for that. But we would be paying benefits, which would kind of, you know, even that out. We have been using this pathway as a probationary period for staff members. As a public employer, we have learned staff members have due process rights, and just to protect the district to see if it's going to work out. We do, I think, have a lot of turnover in this industry. So we're slowly transitioning staff members off of that. Just this month in February, we brought on 2 of the CSRs that were temps as employees, and we're offering the other CSR that was a temp accepted employment, and she'll start on Monday. I'm keeping track of their hours. It's contracted, it's 520 hours, which comes out to about 3 months. So I just keep track of that. And when people get close to their hours, we move them to staff members. So, I mean, ideally we'll be fully staffed and no one will leave, and people will be happy with their jobs and we won't have to continue this relationship. But right now, I think it is a protection for the district. If it's not working out with a temp, we can just let them go without any questions or.
Yeah, it's a great way to do a trial period.
Yeah. Seems like
Did
it.
that answer your question, Colin?
That was a great answer. Thanks, Lily. Yep.
The only stipulation I'd put into that is if we actually hire a person and we send them down to Elwood, there isn't a restriction on the hours. So we can bring them on as a full-time employee just when we feel like they're ready. Which we've done that to a few different ones.
Did they charge you a lower percentage rate when you, okay,
It
making sure.
varies, it's like point something percent lower. I'm trying to find the percentage rate.
Maybe encourage a higher rate.
We'll see, Gustavo, your routine call on my.
I understand. Me too.
I do have a couple of other questions.
Yeah,
So I see that the credit card payment, for staff cards, that's all lumped into one, I assume, but that's,
mainly probably all operations. A lot of it are things that Levi gets. This is just how the report populates in QuickBooks, and I haven't tinkered with it, but I would like to have that, you know, maybe as an additional report, show the credit cards. That would give you that detail.
yeah, especially if you're not the one that's signing them, that particular. Okay. And then, I see there's a refund from AMCS that we were double charged.
Let me look at,
It's
just under the MAC payroll checking, $1,225
Are you
on
looking-
122.
Oh, you're looking at the checklist, 122, and it was under the, which one is it? I'm so sorry, I'm trying to find it.
It's in the MAC payroll checking, AMCS pay. We were refunded for a double charge. So we got a credit of $1,224. It's for,
Oh, it just went through AMCS pay. That was for a customer and I didn't put the customer's name there.
Oh,
The
okay.
customer was double charged.
okay.
Yeah, so because it went through AMCS pay, that was just, rather than putting it to this unique customer one-off, that's,
Okay, so that wasn't a refund to us.
no,
Okay,
I'm sorry for that confusion. No, it was we had made an error and double charged a customer.
okay. And then have we, it sounds like you mentioned earlier with AMCS pay, that we're getting a good amount of money now coming in. Is the credit card processing fees, what percentage is that? Are we gaining a lot from that by dropping what we had before?
I haven't actually dropped what we had before. I know that was.
And that we can do that at another time. I was just
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, the percentages are similar. We're processing a lot more through credit cards and that's why it's up. I mean, they're just the merchant rates that were with AMCS when it
Because
was.
they had at one time said that we would have lower rates by using their credit card processing. So that's why I was curious.
Yeah, I haven't seen that and I haven't looked at the detail because I think merchant credit card fees are kind of just.
Yeah.
They are what they are and they don't really like give you a deal on it. But I think more so than in TerraTrash, we are able to collect the fees that were
Okay,
for the services we're providing.
good. That's all the questions I had. Thanks.
So I have a question under the profit and loss. At the very beginning where it says income for recycling, for landfill, where does the transfer station show up in these income? I didn't see.
Yeah, it's not complete.
Yeah, those numbers aren't complete yet.
It
I'm
was
not
really-
talking about a number, I'm talking about a category called transfer station. It's not there.
So if there are no transactions, it won't populate on this, and
Oh.
this I was really just trying to get for the expenditures. It is not an accurate representation of the income,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah, ignore the income section of that for right now because it's not complete. We still working
Okay.
on some issues.
Okay.
Still having issues with AMCS getting the correct. Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear about it later. That's what I was assuming anyway.
Oh, and I don't know,
But we wanted
maybe-
to show these reports so you get a familiarity with them when we do have them being complete, and you'll see the whole picture, income and expenses.
when do we see that? When do you have it completed?
Hopefully I'll have something next month, the next board meeting.
Okay.
Thanks, Nick. Okay, any other questions for Lily? Do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve the expenditures of the month of January 2025 in the amount of $634,088.42.
I'll second.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks, LJ. Okay, all in favor, show hands. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to. Okay, we're moving on to staff reports. Chris, do you want to start us out?
Yeah, so I'm going to, just go through a couple things real quick. Recycling, I've been working, I mentioned last board meeting, I've been working with Kim, who, comes from Grand Junction. She's extremely knowledgeable with recycling. This summer, I'm kind of going all in all directions with recycling. I think we've missed a lot of opportunities, and there's other opportunities that we haven't ever engaged in. I'm kind of working with her to formalize exactly how this relationship is going to work. Right now, she's kind of representing Moab Solutions. She has her own business, and I've also even broached the subject of maybe the district just kind of hiring her. But there's lots of exciting things, coming up this summer, and I'll remind everyone, the Recycle Coalition of Utah is coming to Moab, for their annual meeting in May. So, there will be more discussions about, recycling. The metal bid I just got for our big giant metal pile out there, I just got all the bids in. So that should be moving over the next, month, hopefully. I'm hoping that this is probably not the last, but the second to last time that the community will see the metal pile out there. I've got some things in works that kind of go along the lines of recycling on how to handle our metal better, upwards of, I've been, kind of rough calculations is we can probably triple the amount that we're gonna receive from the metal. Of course, part of that has to go into the labor cost to be able to get that increased, fundings, but I think it's a worthwhile, pursuit, just to be able to get rid of this pile that I'm sure everyone does as they drive by our thing. Just, kind of a rough number. So, in talking with Kim, she had said, her last load when she was with Grand Junction of a flatbed of crushed aluminum cans, she received, it was in between $20,000 and $30,000. Right now we get about zilch from our commodities. I don't think we've received
Wow.
one check.
Cardboard, we do get.
Oh, well, that's, yeah, so sorry, let me separate that. Cardboard is separate. Cardboard has a good lane. It goes right from the recycle center right to a mill, and we do get checks off that. It doesn't necessarily cover it, but I mean, we do get some to offset the expenses. All of our other commodities, we are not getting anything from, and I think I can increase. I mean, we're never gonna reach a point where recycling is gonna be profitable, but we can. I mean, there's value in those commodities, and if we can get enough quantities, we can reach end markets and drastically, increase the revenue that we are gonna get off those expenses.
So would we be hauling them ourselves then instead?
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of what I.
Yeah, so we would be
To
hauling
Grand Junction?
to Grand Junction, in fact, yeah, I mean, so Grand Junction right now is in the process of building their own, it's gonna be kind of a hybrid, material recovery facility where they're gonna kind of separate stuff out, so it'll actually shorten our shipping lanes. We won't have to go to Salt Lake, we can
Oh,
go over
nice.
to Junction. I mean, the downside of that is we have to go through ports of entry, and I mean, that includes all kinds of other, fun and exciting, things that go along with it. But I mean,
That's a lot more money.
it is. I mean, I think it's
Well, it
worthwhile,
does,
and we'll be able to reach our
Carbon
commodities
print will be lower. a lot.
to the end markets, which I think is a better story when it comes to our recycling.
Yeah.
Can I
That's right.
clarify? So if we took a load of aluminum to Grand Junction, we could get 20 or 30,000. Is that what I'm understanding? And that's just dropping it in Grand Junction.
Yeah,
We need to do that.
yeah.
Yesterday,
Just making sure I'm fully
I mean,
understanding.
so, but it takes us a little while to build that up.
Absolutely.
But that's one of those commodities that doesn't go bad, like plastics, we couldn't, I mean, like there's certain commodities we can kind of hold for a little bit, and you have to be careful when you're playing the commodities game. But I just heard, today, the aluminum market has almost doubled in pricing. So if we
So
had,
does
if
it
we,
fluctuate? It must fluctuate?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, fluctuates.
So
but
that's
like-
not every time then. That's
Yeah,
the catch.
but maybe this time it would have been, 50,000.
Right.
but
So,
preface it with what we get now.
Zero.
Okay. So
So-
it doesn't happen.
But you gotta make sure that our truck is making, you already know this.
Yeah.
The truck has to make money to go or else we just don't need it.
yeah, well, and that's part of the issue that we're having right now is we're shipping all the way to Salt Lake. I mean, but we want to have integrity in our recycling thing, otherwise we're not gonna have those quantities. But we're not getting anything from that, just as 100% expense.
Mm.
And really the shipping like aluminum to Grand Junction, it kind of partners with the metal, kind of reworking how we're handling our metal and stuff. So instead of getting it to the recyclers, I'm gonna give it to the metal recyclers, and they're willing to pay for it.
Where at in Grand Junction?
Yeah, Yeah, it's just past, Montrose, I think is where it's at, actually. I'm not exactly
Probably
sure.
between Grand Junction and Montrose.
Yeah, yeah.
And Chris, is aluminum recycled domestically?
It will be, in fact, it'll be recycled locally in the state of Utah
Wow.
if everything goes to plan. That's part of the kind of the bigger picture is that it stays locally, it increases local economy, gives jobs. Basically, Nucor who's the parent company out of
Yeah.
who I'm going to be dealing with.
Yeah, Nucor, all the metal prices, all those commodity prices are gonna go through the roof.
Yeah.
Everyone, I have a difficult time convincing them of the importance of recycling. I tell them, if you don't recycle anything, recycle a little.
Yep.
I just do that.
This is only the aluminum that gets dropped off the CRC, not the single stream, right? Because the single stream is not sorted.
Right. Yep. But like the bigger picture, like the wish list, if we could have everything that we
Yeah.
wanted, we would have kind of a material, our own material recovery things that would be one of the products that we would want to scalp off the top because it pays.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing I think where people like that know about the value of aluminum, like if be convinced to take their cans to the recycle center if they know it's gonna stay in Utah and
Yeah, I
get
mean,
recycled and
yeah,
bring money to the district.
That was, so Bob Sanitation, the way that they operated, they, every truckload got brought up to the transfer station and dumped on the transfer station floor, and all the aluminum and cardboard was pulled out because of that, just that resale price of those commodities. And so it wouldn't be much different from that with the single stream.
yeah. It's definitely worth, I mean, obviously you kind of have to gauge the labor versus what commodity you're pulling out. But I mean, that's definitely one that that we would want to do.
Nice.
Let's see. I had another thought on the recycling anyways. I'll move on. Landfill operations, gosh, I hate to say, I've been trying to take a more positive light. You have to realize that I've spent 6 years literally wading through shit. So my positive is not wading through shit. So like, I have a hard time saying this out loud because, you know, I'm gonna get cursed for it, but landfill operations have been running extremely smoothly lately, other than our the warranty issue, which obviously is a horrible deal, but I couldn't see a way around not doing it. Collections, since we've received the one truck, collections, we've not had to double up routes since we've received just that one truck. So I can't remember the last time that I've been able to come and say that, you know, or just like, yeah. So, and as an update, our other two trucks should be here next week. And I think that the truck that we have now, we tried it. So it's the two new trucks that are coming here are 20-yard trucks. They kind of, are the same trucks that we're running now. We tried to get a bigger truck just to see if that would work like out in the county and stuff, and it really didn't. So, I mean, it was worth it just to be able to give our mechanics breathing room to be able to kind of work on stuff. The problem was, is we were just in this downward spiral that the mechanics didn't have even time to breathe. So, you know, by next, hopefully by next meeting, I mean, this won't ever, you know, be an issue as far as this season goes. I mean, I say that and it's not.
Do you think having the extra trucks is helping with the overtime? We had mentioned that.
I mean, that's definitely part of it because when these guys come off route, I mean, we make our money when they're on
Right.
route collecting every single can, even when we have to go back. I did a calculation, it costs us $165 to go back where we charge the community $15 to go back. So if we're just going down the street and we're picking up, that's how we make our money. If that truck goes down, that driver comes back in. I mean, it's hard to calculate, but I mean, the number is pretty significant. And then everyone involved when that truck comes in, now you have the driver, the helper, you know, two mechanics, and then trying to figure out how to get another truck back on route. Sometimes we get another person to shuttle those guys out and we're running 3 people in a truck. So yeah, there's a huge expense that we don't even calculate. I mean, obviously, part of the overtime isn't just being, not in season.
Right.
So we'll kind of see the impact of that as we get in season and be able to see. And I think it also brings up the morale of the drivers, and they have a better day. You know, when you start out struggling, when you show up here at 5 in the morning and you can't get your truck running until 7 o'clock. I mean, your day's already starting out. So we'll kind of see the
You're
big,
already
yeah.
2.5 hours behind.
Yeah, so we'll see kind of the bigger effect of the overtime as we get into the season.
Excellent.
Well, I don't know what you're gonna bring up about AMCS. So in trying to keep things light, what I am suggesting, I'm not gonna dig into the dirt on AMCS in this time. What I would like to do is get 3 volunteers from the board to get into a special committee. With some of the recent things that came up, and I'm hesitant to bring them up in a public meeting, because they're not 100% verified. But I mean, there's some things out there. I would like to get 3 volunteers from the board to sit down. I think one of the things that's going to be on my top priority is to kind of do kind of a forensic overlook over everything that the district does as far as billing. I mean, I talked to Nick a little bit about this today. If I don't know how much money that we brought in this month versus how much expenses kind of in real time, I'm making decisions based not in reality.
Right, absolutely.
So that's something that I'm gonna make my one of my top priorities coming up here, and I'd like to have the board, 3 members of the board kind of join this committee so we can have some honest discussions and kind of work behind the scenes in things that are probably not appropriate.
Well, I obviously would volunteer.
Yeah, and I know AJ is willing to kind of do it, so if somebody else wants to enter the fun and exciting world of
AMCS.
I can help, but do we have the timeline that you spoke of earlier? Where you have documented when you spoke to them first and.
Oh, yeah.
when they
yes,
went to
yes,
that
yes.
and
Oh, and I
that's-
was gonna send that out to everyone. I
Okay, so we have
apologize.
that, that's kind of in the mix or,
Yeah, it's for the most part. I mean, it's and it's definitely telling. I'll get that out
okay,
actually.
and then
So
I'll
LJ is going to be on it and
help.
AJ and AJ.
The Jays.
AJ,
And
LJ,
Diane.
and Diane.
Heavy boy, that'd be a big, that's a.
So, I mean, overall, I mean, I hate to kind of predict the future, but I think this year's looking to be pretty good. I'm gonna use the term efficient functionality is where I hope to reach by the end of the year. Obviously, we have to be functional before we can optimize. So that would be my goal for the year, and I think we're in line to be able to fulfill that. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Can I have one other quick question? It's kind of in regards to MTS, but where are we at as far as looking at other possible softwares?
I haven't really made a whole lot of progress
Okay.
since I have my initial list.
Mhm.
There are some opportunities for me to go out and kind of live visit some of these people and the different conventions and symposiums and such. So I mean, I got quite the list. It was last week, so they made a whole bunch of promises for last week, and it's kind of returned in mixed reviews. So I kind of just put that on pause to see where that would go.
Sure.
Yeah, so
So do we have a chair of this 3-person committee? How does it start? How does it work?
I'll just pick a date that you guys can show up and we'll sit down and have some.
So you'll be there with us?
Oh, yes, yeah, oh, yeah.
You'll also,
Yeah,
so you're
yeah.
the chair. You're the
Yeah,
one that's-
I mean, this is such a big thing. I would like the board to be involved, but I don't think it's appropriate to have these discussions in a public meeting. I mean,
You're
potentially.
talking
we-
about, sensitive stuff
Yeah,
that needs to be.
Yeah, so but then that way the board, I mean, my vision is then the board can share it among you guys, and I'm not sure, how that works. You have to be careful of quorums and such, but this is how we can have honest discussions and then still keep the board informed.
Absolutely. Chris, the Recycling Coalition of Utah, that was May. What was the date on that?
Wait a second.
May 2nd.
May 2nd, and is that an open, tell me more about that.
Who's gonna report on it?
Jessica's gonna report on that.
Oh,
so-
great, okay, excellent. Okay, any more questions for Chris? Okay, Lily.
All right, I've been working with Savannah on developing more SOPs, and just a more comprehensive training manual for our CSRs. They really are just the front entry, in how the public sees us and learns about the services we provide. I also want to work on, a manager training to work on staff appreciation also. I think everyone at this table is behind this, like, not that it's not, but we're just trying to make this a great place to work. It's a hard job, but recession-proof industry and good benefits. We're trying to find ways to just attract and maintain local staff. As I said, I think in the financial review, I've just been working on a compensation structure just to address pay. Obviously, all of our compensation is available on transparentutah.gov. There are certain positions that are not being, I think, paid for their responsibility, and also just to look at livability in Moab to address all of our staff. Let's see. Yeah, AMCS. Cash flow has improved, which is so great, but we still have a ways to go. One brief update I'll put in, I emailed with Nick about this earlier, but again, what we were sold is not what we've been given. We've now been told that QuickBooks import upload is not an option. That was never an option. It will cost more if we want that. QuickBooks updates, it will cost more each time I have to do it. Nick brought up, we just want to report. We have a meeting with AMCS tomorrow. We're just going to talk about ways. That was something we learned last week, and I wasn't there, but I very clearly said that's not what we were sold.
Right.
I almost texted you all day. I didn't. Other than that,
I mean, even during the procurement process, that was number one.
emails were shared from 2021.
Yeah.
That say that was a function of it. Again, just trying to find workarounds.
Understand.
Because I feel like we're so far in, just for the community, the thought of switching softwares and having to reset up everyone's auto pay. Is not something I'd like to consider. Let's see, I did.
Well, the city did it. They went from one to another, then back to their old one. Not that we would ever go back to Terra Trash, but they did it. We can do it.
Did they do it because of problems like we're having?
I don't know the full story, but they did have difficulties, so they went back to their old.
Wow. I did meet with KZMU and they are very excited about Trash Talk, and I thought it would be a great platform to explain where glass goes that's recycled at the recycle center. I thought for maybe like the first few episodes, we were thinking a half-hour pre-recorded would just be talking with Jessica and just laying out the waste stream in Moab and how it works and some of the challenges that we face just being as like an isolated rural community.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so we were hoping to
15 minutes?
30 minutes. We were
30 minutes.
thinking, what is it, February? We were thinking it would be the last Wednesday of every month. So we were thinking March would be the start.
The last Wednesday of every month.
Yeah, I think like in their 5 to 6 hour, I'm not quite sure.
Used to be a DJ, Jessica, so if you need any help.
That's great.
It sounded, but yeah, I appreciate that. And let's see, I was just thinking the January credit cards, while they weren't on that check register, they were captured in the P&L. So you wouldn't notice that they were credit card expenditures in the P&L, it would have been in that category.
Okay.
Is the thought I just had. And let's see, I was also just making a list of items that if we have a new treasurer that we will address when there's that change of guard. That's all I've got.
Any questions for Lily? None. Thank you. Jessica.
We'll go here pretty quick. So first thing, grants. As of right now, there's currently no movement or updates regarding the awarded grant for the compost. I did log into the NEPA portal and our project is still active, so it's not been actively canceled. However, they're on a communications freeze, so I can't even contact the person that's managing our case.
And why is it?
The government.
Okay.
The government.
I bet there's a lot they have to review anyway.
Yeah,
and
no
however-
emails have to be approved.
Yeah,
and it-
however many applications are in there, and I'm sure it's the.
Yeah, because we're not vested, so, or I forget what the word, there's a specific term. But we submitted everything right before the deadline, but as it stands, right, they're not going to honor it as it stands. And I know absolutely nothing about the Swiffer grant. I can assume it's in the same vein, that
What?
it's
I would assume.
the Swiffer grant. The one that we submitted for like $4.7 million for the materials management facility that we were hoping to eventually build on this potential lot over here. So I'll continue to report if I ever hear anything or if I don't hear anything, but right now everything just is dead in the water, unfortunately. So Christmas tree reclamation program was successful. We collected approximately 22 cubic yards of Christmas trees that will be reclaimed and utilized under a green waste reclamation program, AKA the unscreened mulch. That's cool. So the trash and show is going to be this Saturday, and yours truly is one of the judges.
What time is it again?
I believe the costume or the runway starts at 9:30 and the event starts at 7, and they have like local DJs playing.
It's where?
Woody's Tavern.
And it has a ticket, right?
Yeah, it's $10 cost, I believe.
Do you have to purchase tickets and everything? So
It's at the door. So yeah, because 2-3 years ago, I won the sassiest costume. So.
Yeah. And Jessica, am I correct that isn't the district manager required to dress up and attend that event? Is I'm incorrect, but I could be incorrect about that.
I don't have enough time to sell some of costume. Have to make my own. Oh, and to answer your question earlier about the RCU Spring Conference, so we'll be hosting it May 2nd at the Spring Hill Suites Conference Room. It approximately runs, we're still finalizing,
Spring Hill.
Spring Hill Suites, yeah, the one that's just north of the bridge. We're still finalizing the actual conference content because we're waiting to hear back from speakers, but it usually runs from 8 o'clock to 2:30, 3 o'clock. And I think they're trying to do like a little mixer at the golf course the Thursday before. Cause that's what they do every year. They come down here.
And then is that open to the general public?
It is. You can purchase a ticket online. I can't remember what the cost usually is. I want to say it's like $175 for RCU members and $225 for non-RCU members, but they also have early bird pricing, but it's not been released yet, so I'm not sure.
Oh. What day of the week is that?
Friday.
Friday, May 2nd.
Yep, Friday, May 2nd. The conference brings together various entities in Utah to discuss and educate on sustainability, recycling, and market updates on a biannual basis. The RCU consists of public entities and private businesses dedicated to increasing, refining, and expanding recycling opportunities in Utah. So I can't speak as to what some of the speakers that they do have because it's not finalized, but I can say that we do have I believe the head of Nike sustainability coming in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're big people coming in. And I have actually emailed our mayor as an invited individual to open the conference. So I'm waiting to hear back on that.
He should have a commissioner as well,
I can do that.
because I mean, this is a county, not a city.
Yeah, sure. I will do
I
that.
would have a commissioner open it
Um,
personally, but
Yeah, I'll email. So monitoring new legislation. So several pieces of legislature on both the state and federal levels have been introduced that may directly affect the district. Some address recycling operations, CDL requirements, permitting, governmental accounting processes, and more. And I've been keeping a running list of these bills and resolutions, and will keep management aware of their status and implications should they be signed into law. Because some of these address, like waste tire recycling, glass recycling reporting, and expansion of those programs, litter amendments, political subdivisions. There's even one that specifically addresses compensation for special service district boards. So I've got a list of probably about 15 pieces of legislation that could affect us.
Could you ag me those so I can look them up myself and take?
I can do that.
I'd be curious about that.
Yeah, I can email all of them. Wag bags. I said Chris will probably report more on this. You let me down.
I gave you the things we have new,
Oh, yeah.
containers that are going out.
Okay, yeah, we do have new containers that are going out, and I did redesign the slogans that are going to be put on them. The new slogan for the White Bag program is "Don't spoil the soil." These stickers are gonna go on the top and the side of our new Wag Bag bins, so hopefully, these, my fun, we call it the glorious poo, because it's
Enlightened.
enlightened food, enlightened. Just something funny to kind of catch people's eyes and let them know that this is specifically a Wag Bag bin, not to put trash in it or things like that, so.
Only poo.
Only poo. Human,
Wild question, where do those go?
the Wag Bag
Yeah,
bins,
yeah.
they go out to Klondike. Yeah, because we've had issues where people put Wag Bags in the trash and it's actually exploded on our workers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have explodes?
And
Well,
Well,
the way
when
it
it's
gets away.
compressed in the bag, and what actually happens is the bag is what actually explodes. And so when the bag explodes, then everything in it comes.
No.
Yeah.
Because they push it, you know.
several of our guys have been hit with Wag Bags.
No.
And because people don't
That
use
just makes
wag
you
bags
wanna
properly,
puke.
they often urinate in them when you're not supposed to. They often overfill them when it's only supposed to be like a 2 to 3 use. So,
It's
Terrible little bombs.
a fun day
Yeah.
for the guys.
but where are they located in town? Are they still at the same?
They're all at the same location, but we did remove the one that was at the wastewater reclamation facility because that one
Never
never
used.
got used.
Betting that has locations on it, does it, or a link?
Yeah, when you scan it, it brings you to our page that shows where those locations are, what to do for commercial, and then also links to the other entities that are involved with this and the information that they provide, because they also have information on, not digging cat holes and that sort of thing. And then I believe Do It Like a Local even has a vault toilet interactive map where you can see where all the vault toilets are located in Grand County and San Juan, I believe. So there's that. Board member training requests. I actually put this on here for you, Lee. So certain trainings are required as board members. We've kind of let this slip a little bit, but first time board members have to take a one-time special service district board meeting training. I believe it's about an hour or two. And then on an annual basis, you have to take the OPMA, which is the Open Public Meeting Act.
Yep.
Just to educate yourself on, how meetings are supposed to be run, and that's supposed to be done on an annual basis. So, I'll be sending out emails to all of y'all, letting you know what certifications I need from you and whatnot.
And they're real easy to do.
Yeah, they're super easy.
we send the links, so that we can.
Yeah, I'll send the links as well. And then last but
I might
not
redo that.
least,
Or-
I have increased regulatory management and reporting. This is a new task that Chris has, been handing to me. So basically, learning and eventually submitting the required annual and quarterly reporting and renewals for the district. This includes our SAMs, which allows us to, submit for grants, submit for bids, especially on federal level. Our stormwater permit, the annual and quarterly reporting for, UDQ, our entity registration that's required by the Special Service Districts Act, and that sort of thing. So I've been slowly learning how to do all that and gaining access to those systems. That's what I got.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Do you have time to sleep?
I don't sleep. I'm a vampire.
Any questions for Jessica?
Jessica, I do have a question. In that, in vessel, pilot project for the composting, is there, how was the schools contacted? Who was it the people at the top in the school district, Grand County School District?
That is, I did not facilitate that conversation. That was
So who
the
would I find?
Vista.
Who?
It was the Vista with the city.
Okay,
And I believe Rosalind McCann, those are the two that had
Okay.
those conversations. I was tasked with the actual putting the grant together, submitting it, and then running the program should we get.
I asked that because we're down at the elementary school and we're teaching recycling and we're meeting for a snack every Thursday, and we've been thinking about how we could train the children for their orange peels and so forth and so on, but I didn't know who to talk to. Whether it should be just the principal of HMK, the director of the Grand County Schools.
I mean, it might be helpful just to reach out to the Grand County School District and
Yeah.
see if they have someone that can provide you
Okay.
with a specific contact.
Yeah, I
at each level.
will. I will. I just didn't know if you guys had a contact.
No,
already.
that,
Okay.
yeah, I didn't facilitate that
Okay,
conversation.
thank you.
Okay. Nick,
Yeah, continuing to focus on wrapping up 2024, which the previously discussed AMC is an issue related to that, but I've gone through the fixed assets and got those ready to go. Reviewing expenses for 2024. All this is in prep for the audit. That'll be that first week of June when the auditors come out, but I want to make sure all our ducks in a row. So going to the AMCS, booking the revenue has been kind of the thing that I'm struggling with, but I'm with an email discussion with Lily, I'm going to put together exactly what I thought was going to come out of the system. The data is in there. It's just a matter of either finding the report that's there or having them create the report that gives me the revenue specifics and the associated accounts receivable. The payments are going into the accounts receivable account as they should. So it's just a matter of getting this revenue entries booked for the tail end of 2024 and for January 2025. So that's going to be my primary focus. Get that in place. And so that when we come back to this board meeting next month, hopefully we'll have at least a full picture of our financials from a profit and loss statement aspect. Along those lines, oh, go
I have
ahead.
a question. As far as that report goes from AMCS, there used to be a way in there that you could kind of create your own specific report. Is that not available anymore?
I'm looking into that to see if that's something I can craft, what they'd call an ad hoc report.
Right, yeah.
I can get me
Mhm.
with
And
that.
I played with that a little bit. If I could see a screen and you want to give me a call, we could do a Zoom or whatever, I might be able to help. Some of the
Okay.
things that I already played with.
All right. As we go in here into 2025, as Jessica mentioned, the composting program, once that gets greenlit, in terms of happening, we'll probably from an internal management standpoint want to create a cost center for that, and Jessica has emailed us some bullet point items related to that, so that we want to make sure those are in place. Again, along those lines of a separate cost center, the potential property lease, that may be what one we want to set up a cost center for, also to track expenses so that they can be looked at individually by that property. So some of the things I was thinking about in relation to that, and again, some of them were discussed, but of course, there'll be the lease payment, but there might be some repairs that may need to happen or will be need to happen. Possibly some signage that needs to be put up, additional utilities, like Ashley mentioned, some insurance. There might be some IT things that need to happen in terms of utilizing that building. So I just want to kind of put those thoughts out there to mull over as we move forward, possibly in that direction, so that we may have 2 additional cost centers in our P&L that we can look at to segregate expenses. Let's see. I think that's about all I had for now. Again, I'm just making sure that 2024 gets wrapped up over this next month or so.
Thanks, Nick. Any questions for Nick? Okay, you're off the hook, Nick.
Momentarily.
Just for now. Okay, so we're moving on to board reports. AJ, do you want to start us off? Do you have anything to report?
I don't think I do.
Okay, LJ, anything to report?
I don't have anything.
Ashley?
Just thank you, Chris, for going over that extended warranty with me. I cannot stress to you guys how much of a crappy deal that is. It was crappy when you guys voted for it, and it's even crappier now. So just,
Oh, it's more crappy?
yes.
Yeah.
And, yeah, read some emails on that. And I do think that we need to start planning for a purchase of a different one of those. We need to be kind of socking some money away because it is such a costly machine that, anyway, we discussed it, but just FYI, that's my opinion on that. So, but
From a different company, so we don't have to deal with these people again.
yeah, like US made is my vote. So, anyway, I appreciate that, hearing me out on that, so.
Yeah, oh, thank you.
Oh, I
Yeah, I
also
really
want,
appreciate you challenging those things, Ashley.
I also want to say, if I'm reading these reports correctly on profit and loss, I see that in January, our repair and maintenance costs went down significantly. So I hope that we have all the bills entered and we're not going to get a surprise. If that is correct, I want to say kudos to the employees because you guys are the ones that control that line item. So anyway, keep up the good work. And that's what I got to say about that. So thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. Mike?
Nothing to report here.
Okay. Diane?
I've got a couple of things. You know, the board of directors has a body of language that rules us and tells us how we behave and what we should, you know, our rules and regulations. I can't even put the name on what that document is called, but it now states that we have 5 board members.
Our bylaws.
What's that?
Is it our bylaws that you're
Yeah, probably bylaws. And so there, and other things in there we've talked about. I would suggest that just like with the AMCS committee that we're gonna work on, somebody needs to make this good because we're not operating as it's stated, and this is gonna come up and we're gonna look really great. But anyway, that's my first suggestion. Then the other thing is, I went online and looked seriously about the CRC sponsorship program because I hear loud and clear from Chris and others. And I'm very concerned about the CRC and how we perceive it as a liability. And so I am seeing that in 2021, there was acknowledgement of the donations of the CRC sponsorship program. And I would imagine that I just did a little bit of math and it was $7,000 came in that year. And I think that is a pittance to what it could be if someone was tasked staff-wise here at the solid waste district to promote this. And I've talked to people in the community and they want to do this. They did it in the past, but it needs promotion. And I believe there's an easy cash out there in the neighborhood right now with, yes, there would be work. But it's a great program and we need to really consider that this is we're just not, we're not really smart to let this money just be in the community and not helping us run the CRC. This is just the beginning to what I believe is in the community that would support the CRC. And, you know, we need to really look at that cash inflow that we're not taking advantage of.
Are you
That's all.
volunteering to be on the bylaws review board and the CRC sponsorship
Yes,
board?
but not the chair. I don't want to be in charge of it.
Mhm.
I just don't have the computer skills
The
to do that,
CRC is
but
actually-
I definitely would help.
That program is actually mine. I created it and I ran it.
No,
I was
she's not
able-
talking about that. She's talking about,
Oh,
Whatever two items you brought up, and I was just wondering if you were gonna head them, you're bringing them up, you know a lot about them.
well, no, the CRC, the sponsorship program is something that the staff
Already
did
exists.
here.
Oh,
But the other item, yes, I'm willing to help on the bylaw revision, yes, but I just don't have the skills. I can assist, but I can't.
The bylaw revision has been on our radar. I wanted to tackle it in September, but that was a terrible time to even consider it. And I promptly, after a day, was like, no way. The county commission did approve expanding our board from 5 members to 7, so that is fine. But obviously the bylaws in bulk have not been readdressed since the district was established, and it's a very different operation.
And really that was gonna be addressed under item I under new business.
Oh, it's something to be aware of. I mean, I
No,
know
it's-
if the
it's-
time
it's-
is, but I can't imagine that it would take that long. I think it's like 20 pages or something like that. There's a copy of it online and it looks like it was typed on a manual type.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
To me, that's not what I want the public
Well,
to
and
see.
it was done in a different organization. There's no correlation to our current.
So I don't,
makeup.
I just think that we really can do this. And this time is the only time to do it. You can't. Yeah, this is the
And
time.
how does that need to happen? How do bylaws get amended or rewritten?
We would have to submit them to the commission, and the commission would need to officially approve them, is what I was told when I talked to Alicia.
And I disagree with that.
They were very confused. I don't want to say they were confused. It's just different for each of their boards, and as a special service district,
I don't think it's a special services review, have to, but I'll double check that. I know we have a template now, because we're attempting to get all of our boards and departments, all, committees and boards to have the same template for their bylaws, because
Got it.
before they were all over the place. So I think that would be a good place to start, is getting a template.
we do have that.
Yeah, we
You do
have
that?
that. We have multiple copies. I mean, this was kind of a discussion when I first took on this job that, I think we needed to start with the structure of the board, which would include the bylaws, which would, include a lot of what's the interaction, what's the expectations. And I mean, as we started going into it, it turned into a bigger thing. And that was really one of the topics that we want to go over in the workshop. To
Okay, good,
initially
good.
hit over
There's
on
gonna
that.
be a-
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
If so desired, I wouldn't mind being on that committee for the bylaws if you want to have a person on there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick. Excellent. Any other questions for where we're on Diane, right?
I'm done.
Mary, what do you have for us?
Not much as far as, I just want to thank everybody that's on the board and new board members, and I'm excited about everybody's, engagement and involvement. I think it's very good, better than I've seen with some of the past boards, so I really appreciate it, and, would you send me a copy of the bylaws, and I will at least go over them and look at them and maybe mark some, highlight what I think needs to be changed and fixed, and send me the template you'd like to use. And then once I look through it, I'll get a hold of Diane and Nick.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Mary. Okay, I've got a couple things. So between the last meeting and now, I had a conversation with Chris and about employee compensation and just looking all of that over. I'm going to come back to that because there was something missing from that conversation. And then today, I did get an opportunity to talk with Sherry Griffith. And also, I left the conversation feeling very good about, her appreciation for what the district is trying to do there. And, so I do look forward to, future discussions with her and I'm really positive too with, feel really positive about the way that Chris is continuing this conversation with her and just keeping her very well informed of all of our intentions. And, I know it's probably a little bit of a challenging situation for Sherry to be dealing with Chris, who then has to deal with the board too. And so, but she's been incredibly patient and, big things coming. So now back to my conversation with Chris. And this is just really front loading something that I've already talked with Lily about. This will be on our agenda for next meeting. For those of you who are new to the board or who weren't a part of this, I mean, it is a very new board. When I came on in the beginning of last year, we had an executive director. We had, and then we had directors underneath the executive director, and there's been a entire reshuffling and restructuring to where now Chris, who was the operations director, has now stepped into the role of district manager, and we completely eliminated that very well compensated executive director role, completely eliminated, and all of the responsibilities under that role fell primarily to Chris, in addition to him continuing his operations director responsibilities. And then also, and what Chris didn't pick up, Lily and Jessica did. And so what's not happening right now is, as Chris is looking at all of the staff and a restructuring of their compensations, Chris is not looking at his own compensation in that conversation. And I think the board really needs to look hard at that because Chris is still being paid his salary as the operations director. And he's taken on all of the responsibility of this position that's been completely eliminated. And so, I would just ask of all you board members to between now and the next meeting to start looking at, and if we want to share different comparables with different organizations, it's a pretty challenging task to try to find really accurate comparables because this is such a unique entity and Moab's such a unique location for this entity to be operating out of. But this is something that we absolutely do need to address. And Lily said it really well today that, if with Chris's present compensation, we would never be able to fill that. If we lose Chris, I'm out of here anyway. But if we lose Chris, we would never be able to fill that position at that current compensation, and especially not anywhere near as qualified as Chris is. And I think all of us can attest to just how different it feels now with Chris at the helm and the direction and the positivity that's happening. And there's just some really profound changes in a good direction happening at the solid waste district. So we will talk more about this at the next meeting, and please, between now and then, any conversation you want to have with me by phone, I would love to talk about. But then, do your own research, look into it on your own, and we'll talk more about this in the next meeting. And that is all for Colin. Okay, moving on to old business. Does anybody have any questions for me? Nope. Okay, moving on. Old business. We've got an action item to elect a board treasurer, and I know there's been some talk. Who wants to take this away?
I would like to nominate Ashley Wareham, is that right? For the position of board treasurer.
I'll second that.
Great. Okay, Ashley, you're willing?
Yeah, from what I understand, it's just a little bit more work. So I'll be working with Lily.
I thought we'd have to get together and
Probably.
we're gonna have to have a time that we go to Mountain America and Zion. And then take my name off as treasurer and signer and your name on. And that's probably going to be the most, is just setting that time up. And I think, Chris, you have to be with us. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Or maybe Colin. I'll ask Mountain America. It seems like there was at least 3 of us that signed when I was there before.
You'll
Okay.
still stay on as a signer for checks, but not for.
No, I'm letting go of the person that does the PF, anytime you have to do the phone call. And it's not that big a deal. It's just that I think it's time to let it go and let somebody else go and do it. And it isn't, it's like you'll have kind of a flurry of little activity here and there. Somebody needs new, a credit card, you have to do some stuff, but it's not huge. And getting people, like getting AJ signed as a signer.
If they're already going, I could just fill out that form that you have if we still have it. I mentioned DocuSign, but I don't mind.
Okay, I do have it. Yeah, I gave AJ the signature card to add him as a signer at Mountain America. But I don't know if it works to coordinate with the 3 of you, or I can do it.
Well, I can still just do it, and that'd probably be the fastest and easiest. And then when we get you re-signed, then you would take over from there.
Great.
I think we still need to vote though.
Okay, yeah, we do have a motion and we have a second. So show of hands, all in favor?
Do I vote for this or do I?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Any opposed? Okay. Ashley, thank you so much for stepping up. So appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
You're a very valuable member. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to new business. We've got G, an action item, the lease of real property at 2263 South Highway 191.
What item number was that, Chris?
G,
Item number G. I'll make a motion to approve the lease of real property at Highway 2263 South Highway 191. With once item G has been,
that's 15, sorry.
item 15. Regarding property tax has been clarified. Thank you.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion?
How you guys, how would the board like me to email, if I get clarification and then you guys can acknowledge through email? Does that work?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. And just to clarify, Chris, I mean, I think that we, with this motion, we are giving you the ability to resolve that how you see fit, right? And so you don't need any more of a vote for us or any other
Direction.
direction or support.
Understood.
Okay, show of hands, all in favor? Are there any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, so moving on to action item H, action item ratify amended 2-year extended warranty for Bomag 772 landfill compactor. Any discussion? A motion?
I'll make a motion to ratify the amended 2-year extended warranty for the Boeing 772 landfill compactor.
I'll second.
Great. Thanks, Mary. Thanks, LJ. And just for clarification, the ratification means that it's already signed and sealed and delivered, right? And so we are just,
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Show of hands, all in favor? Are there any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, discussion item, April 4th, board workshop. Who wants to lead this?
This will be real quick, I guess I can, and then if anyone else wants to add. So I have an outline that I kind of sent out to Jessica and Lily. So I'll send it out. This is just draft. Please include everything, anything, any idea, and then we'll kind of, try to break this down into kind of, something that we're able to do in a day. I mean, like I was part of this with, is obviously, in fact, item number 3 on here, review bylaws and suggestion for updates. Basically, I'll just go through here real quick. Basically, welcome and introduction, how the board works, review of bylaws, suggestion for updates, office setup, employees handbook, kind of going over the plan of operations, which I talked about, in the past, our future plans, questions and ideas, a wrap up, and then we wanted to schedule a tour. So that
So the
was,
tours will be in the afternoon?
yes, or open to suggestions.
Are we?
Nothing's.
I got confused in the schedule. I'm available all day that day.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
Oh,
but for some reason I was
Great.
looking at my calendar on the 3rd.
I thought it said the 3rd.
Isn't it the thing? What day are we talking about?
It's a Thursday, cause I have to
Oh.
make accommodations, but whatever the day Thursday is.
Thursday's the 3rd.
Never mind.
Sorry, I wrote that wrong.
I was gonna suggest you possibly change the date
It's Thursday.
because there's so many important things like the bylaws and other things that we'll be discussing. It'd be great to have more people here.
I agree. I mean, this was still, I mean, we kind of did a poll and I think that was kind of the,
The one that had the
but I
most
mean, if we can adjust that, yeah.
I won't be on
Absolutely.
the 4th.
No, but it's the 3rd.
I know, but if
I'm
we're
available.
changing it to the 4th.
Oh, I just said
won't
change
be.
the date. I didn't say.
I can send out a new poll. It sounded like we were trying to get this done in March or April. But if we want to push this back, can I talk right now? Is that okay? The April board meeting falls over spring break and I won't be here. I know other board members have children that are in Grand County schools. I didn't know if we were having this workshop in early April, if we would want to cancel or reschedule the meeting in April. If we're doing that, we could look at changing this date to find another date that works better.
I was gonna suggest that too later when we started talking about that, but
Well, there were only 2 people that couldn't make it, correct?
Mary cannot make it.
On the 4th, I can now.
Well, I'm so sorry.
The third.
Ashley can't do the 4th.
3rd, I can now
But the
too.
3rd is the
I
day.
can't do
The
the,
third was
The
the intended
third
day. I'm
is the
so
day.
sorry.
So there
I
were
can't
only
do
2
the-
people that couldn't do it on the 3rd. Is there anybody now on the 3rd that can't do it?
I don't know if I am able part of the 2.
You didn't vote. So you didn't respond to the doodle.
Can you do the 3rd? You
I can
said
do,
you-
I can do it till noon.
on the 3rd.
Till noon, yep.
who else
Like
can't
I'm
do
moving
the
it a
3rd?
week.
The only thing that I would, about the April board meeting and as it corresponds to the workshop is if we come up with suggestions, it might be nice to have the board meeting, at least, even if it's a minimal one, to, pass it, if there was something that came up that we wanted to address and be able to pass it, because I don't think in a workshop that you're
No.
allowed to do anything. Is my understanding.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could be, I'm open if we wanted to go back out again. I think this is an important thing, and we would definitely, if we need to take a second shot at another
Okay.
poll, then let's do it. I mean, especially with new people coming on, and this will be an opportunity to kind of get an overview.
I think it's
of the
really
whole-
important. And going
I
to the
agree. Yeah, trying to find a date that more people can participate in.
I'll send out another doodle poll tomorrow.
And I'll respond.
And as far
Thanks,
as
Lily.
the April board meeting goes, then just move it to a different Wednesday in April after whenever we meet.
Yeah.
So that's what I would suggest. But move it to Wednesday.
So we're looking for March and April for this workshop. And you'll send a doodle poll tomorrow, like my March and April is just filling up, so,
Sure. Cause it's already ended.
yeah,
Yeah.
like we're pretty much into March. So anyway, okay,
First thing in the morning.
okay, I hope the dates work.
Sleep on it.
Maybe
Do you
keep
have
the
dates
3rd
open?
until we get a new
I
one.
know.
Yeah, the third,
Keep the 3rd till we get a new one. That's a good idea.
maybe the 10th,
If you'd remind me, I need to complete these agendas more closely.
Oh, you proofread them. You almost have to read them upside down. Seriously.
Okay.
Okay. Any more discussion on the board workshop? Okay, moving on to J, discussion item, the LSI environmental posi shell product for ADC.
So this is a product, alternative daily cover means that instead of using dirt, that you use another type of cover for our working face. Over the last few years, we've been doing surveys, and it's been quite alarming on how much of our actual airspace is actually dirt and not trash. And that has to do a lot of, I mean, the biggest component of that is just our small volumes. Larger landfills, I mean, some of them run 24 hours a day, and they only stop every once in a while just to cover. We get ours, and so we're covering dirt over all these little the tonnages that we get daily, because we're required to cover daily. So a majority of our airspace is getting used up just by dirt. So that's the sales pitch of this thing. They came out and they did a demonstration about, it was about a year ago, a little over a year ago. It looked like a good product, and we've looked in other ways of trying to use alternative daily cover, grinding our tires, grinding C&D. So there's, I mean, alternative daily cover is a valuable concept. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, I drove down to the San Juan landfill because so when they came and did a demo for us, they also went down to San Juan and did a demo. San Juan bought it. They purchased the product, and I went down there to see how it was going. And it is amazing, and the amount of time. So what happens during the working phase is we get the trash and we put the trash in place, and then we compact it. While that's happening, we have an operator and a loader that runs probably about 4 or 5 hours just stockpiling dirt so that we cover the working phase. This product basically was, I watched it, it took the whole process between the mixing, getting it to the working phase and spraying it on was about 45 minutes. And you don't use any dirt. Well, I take that back. So then according to the state regulations, you only have to cover once a week. So that saves four times or 4 days of, you know, if you put that in hours, 16 hours, running a piece of equipment, paying an operator. It also has some bird repellent in it that keeps the birds off of it. I witnessed they had a pretty big bird problem. The birds were everywhere, but where they put it on the working phase. So just to kind of, I mean, I'm still kind of crunching numbers and stuff. I just kind of wanted to bring up so that at some point when I kind of propose this, that the board's kind of familiar with it. So
What's it made
What
of?
is it?
it's
Is it plastic?
no, it's gosh, I can't. It starts with a B. It's pretty common. Barrel. Bromite. Help me here.
Is it a spray or something?
Yeah, it's basically a spray.
Is it blue?
No, it's brown. Gosh.
Can I understand that? So you guys compact the trash, you cover it with dirt, and then the next day you come in with more trash, cover it with dirt. Is that, so we're not even stripping our top?
Well, you do a little bit.
Okay.
The problem is so conceptually, that's what they tell you, but when you try to pull that dirt off, that dirt becomes contaminated dirt.
Okay.
And so it needs to kind of stay on the working phase. So you can't ever really like put the working phase, pull the dirt back and then try to put the dirt back on it, because now there's a whole bunch of trash in that dirt.
Now it's mixed.
Yeah, and it's mixed up.
And so this stuff is just, it's like a tackified spray kind of
Yeah,
thing?
yeah,
like
so when you
the
use it-
They put on the highway
Yeah,
side?
exactly the machine that you use. So and that's the biggest cost.
So
Is the
by
applicator. And it's basically a seeder. So you
Oh, a
mix,
slurry seeder.
yeah, you mix in there and it sprays, I mean,
Chris, I pulled it up.
what's it,
Patented blend of clay binders, reinforcing fibers and polymers that when mixed with water or leachate produces a spray applied mortar that dries in the form of a thin durable stucco.
But it's the chemical, yeah,
I looked at their fast facts, I can't tell you.
I'll get the chemical, but the other good thing is so you can spray it on the working face, but you can also mix it, concrete in there and spray it on your intermediate, slopes. So that will stop erosion rills, which is a big concern that we have. I mean, we don't get a lot of rain, but every time it rains, like our entire, landfill is covered with erosion rills, which is a bad thing when we get inspected.
And so
Is it possible, Chris, that, San Juan County and Grant County could share
That's the plan.
the machine?
Not the machine. The machine would just be, I mean, it's so far down there.
we
It
have to use
would,
it all the time.
yeah, because you have to use it, you use it
So
every
you can
day.
share with them if you're not making the machine.
The shipping cost
Shipping of the,
of the material, it comes in, I think they're like 50-pound bags.
And
And
then it
you
would
never ma-
stay on there, like you put it on your daily, and then you could just pile on top.
Yeah.
and it doesn't have any effect on the breaking down of what might break down.
I'm not sure, but we don't break down anyways here. That's part of the reason why we don't have methane and we're not required for leachate, and we get a pass on lining.
Oh, yeah, we don't have to have a lining.
Yeah.
So you never mentioned a price.
The price is, so San Juan County didn't purchase their machine. They went out and found a cheaper machine. Their machine cost $25,000. The product is, probably 15, I have to get some exact pricing, but it's about 15,000 a year.
Oh,
So,
for the,
and they have a huge cost analysis that goes through, that shows you, a comparison of running an operator and a machine, the repair and maintenance of the machine, the savings of the airspace. So initially it would probably be about a $40,000 to $50,000 investment. Then the second year would just be the material. And then, we would share the shipping, savings with San Juan County if that was something.
It's like a hydro seeder, right?
Hydro seeder, yes. That's what we're
did
thinking.
someone invite these people to come to talk and show you in San Juan County? Or did, they just contact you? Who contacted who?
So originally they contacted me a year ago and they wanted to come and do a demo. And I mean, I've been looking into alternative daily covers because there is, out at Klondike, we are what they would call in the industry dirt starved. So at some point we run out of dirt, and as the moment that we start having to ship in dirt, we are no longer viable. Because we spend more money shipping in the dirt than we receive for our cost for our
I know it sounds stupid, but there's no dirt in this valley.
yeah.
Just after a flood, then we got a lot.
Long-term, for the long-term viability of Klondike, I mean, that's.
Massive.
But I'm just getting at this. You know how, what a shitty deal BOMAG?
Yeah.
Okay, so are there other entities out there that do the same thing, provide the same thing? And could we get reviews of each
Yes,
one of
there-
these
there-
before we commit to any one of them?
Yes, so there are, and I've looked at other ones, and the reason I went down
Well,
for
that's-
this
yeah.
was just to
That's a given.
be a year later and see how it's been working.
The nice thing about it with the hydro seeder is like a very common piece of equipment. So like all the roadside stabilization they do is a hydro seeder, uses like reclamation all the time.
That's
So it's
probably
not
why
like
you
we're,
was able to find one.
yeah, we're not buying like the machine that we use to apply this stuff is not like a unique thing, like,
Mhm.
right? So if we wanted to keep going with this idea of stabilizing with some sort of slurry and not using dirt, we could buy a different product. I'm sure there's multiple products that.
Yeah, there are.
That have,
That cedar could utilize different products.
and they could use the cedar to like
Well,
do
when we close our-
reclamation on Moab landfill. They could go
Well,
up there to
exactly,
do a
our
hydro mulching on Moab landfill slopes and stuff.
closure, post-closure
Yeah.
requires, seeding, so at some point, we would either have to hire someone to come out and do it, or rent the machine, or.
Or use our own.
Yeah.
Use our
our
own.
own.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
what
whatever
you're
you're
trying
trying to
to
find
say
is patented protected, because I can't find it anywhere.
They're not
look into-
specialized machines like the BOMAG.
Yeah.
Right. It's not a
Yeah.
specialized machine. You're just buying a specialized secret sauce to spray
Yep.
on.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
The secret sauce.
I like this idea.
And there is, there's lots of different products like this out there. This was, and when I go to these different conventions and stuff, they all have their own pitch, of course, and which ones. And so this was just a unique opportunity to, you know, the salesman did the demo, and then I got to go look a year later of how it actually works.
Perfect.
Seems
And
like
he's
it,
happy with it.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And I was actually amazed too. It was like, wow, that's it. I mean, it was nothing. They pull up with a pickup, they throw it in there. The only downside that we have is they have a well on their landfill. We don't have water, but we would just bring it in with this, because we have our own well here. So, I mean, we would have to bring it in, but we do that anyways. We come back and forth.
Do you guys
with
have
the
a
truck.
water truck?
No, and that is a sore spot here. We definitely need a water truck.
Good question. Smart.
And once we finally get a water truck, that will no longer be an issue and we will fill our.
You like rent one from Grand, or what would you do? Just get a water
So-
tank out there or something? How would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think if we got one of the bigger, water trucks, we could run out there one. I mean, we're actually as part of our permit. So we're in violation.
We're already spraying water out there.
Well, we should be.
Oh.
We should be. So this is part of our permit, that we are in a violation of our permit, not having a water truck.
Got it.
In fact, I brought this up. I mean, this has been a discussion for 6 years. And when I first brought it up, it's like, well, you know, we've existed since 1998 with no water truck. Why do we need one now? And I don't know. If you've been breaking the law for, I don't know, there's that was about you.
Let's keep getting away with it.
Yeah, so.
We could drive every day. Why is it legal?
And it would be, I mean, we really need a water truck at all of our facilities from the air and dust. I mean, that's in all of our permits.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
our permit here, our permit at Moab
Oh,
landfill, and our
wow.
permit at Klondike.
Huh.
And once they get you, I'm sure Ashley can attest to you, once they get you, you wish you would have gotten the water truck.
your $25,000 water truck is gonna be peanuts versus your $100,000 fine you get. And then if they backtrack it to 1998 because you deliberately didn't, 96 didn't do it, then.
25,000 does not include a water truck, I'm sure.
No.
So how much water does this take? I mean, would one load a day
It
cover?
was, yeah. I'm thinking, I think it was 100 gallons is what I saw them spray.
That's it?
It's too far down. You can't.
It's too deep out there?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I think they went 1,500 feet.
Oh, wow.
And that's why they were like, hey, this is a good place for a landfill.
Yeah, really. We don't need water on our landfill.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's,
Cool. We reached the end of our,
Yeah, Chris, I'm excited to hear more about that. Okay, future considerations. Kay, next ACB meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. Any discussion on that?
I'll be on Zoom.
Okay, and then the April meeting is scheduled for April 16th, 2025. And I will be one of the people that'll be a tough one for me to make. So if we want to,
let's start looking at alternate dates right now, so we can
Yeah,
suggest
we
it. in the
do
next
pull that
meeting.
one as well.
Yeah,
too.
I can do all that one too.
okay, any more discussion on that? Okay, with that, we will go ahead.